There we go. Cool. So,
right.
hey Adam.
What's up, Justin?
Yeah, good to
man?
see you. Finally able to get here in person, so that's awesome. So, got a couple of random questions for you. I mean, it's just stuff that we've already figured out, wondering about all your process and everything. So I know you started the original Kickstarter, 2009 for the first mini?
Yeah, one figure.
So why did you decide with just the one, and why did it, what were the steps between that and the actual game? Or was the game the idea in the beginning?
The game was the idea in the beginning.
Cool.
Well, not particularly monster, but we'll get to that.
Right.
The one mini thing was, a dear friend of ours who happened to be in the sort of New York City agency circuit was friends with Yancey, one of the founders of Kickstarter. And so it was like, hey, I know you guys are working on, our friends, I know you're working on this project. These guys have this thing called Kickstarter. It's crowdfunding. It's a new thing.
Oh, gotcha. So you're kind of there at the beginning.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're having a little gallery, and they're giving out beta invites. At that point in time, I think there's maybe 50 users on Kickstarter.
Wow,
and
that's really early.
The biggest project was an icon set. It raised $250.
Wow. Okay.
Which is cool. And at that point in time, it was very tech oriented and stuff.
So not more of the board game thing?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
I was like, yeah, okay. I'll put one miniature up, and we'll see, right? It's exciting, but I wasn't really expecting much from it. And at that point in time, it was mostly just. It wasn't feel good. It was like hitting up my friends. People I worked with.
Right, yeah, it always feels weird, you know.
But they were very supportive, and we ended up, raising enough to pay for it and everything, and pay for the scope. It was nice, and we sent those out to everybody.
Well,
but at that point, I was like, well, I probably wouldn't go back to crowdfunding because I don't really like the feeling of just begging the people I know.
Gotcha.
It's like putting them on the spot, But then we continued, Kingdom Death, figure at a time, whenever we could, and it was Zombicide that launched the 1,000 ships.
Gotcha. So people were used to it after that happened.
Yeah, it was the community was like, oh, we can do this, we can get this huge thing going and get all these stretch goals. That's awesome. So they kind of set the model for the tabletop gaming. It was mostly, I think, Churn was behind that over at Woman or Not. Just pretty genius, really. And then once my little fans saw that, they started reaching out to me like, hey man, you should do a Kickstarter. We'll support you, you should do it.
Gotcha.
We want to see that game of yours, let's go. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm not ready to work on the hero version of the game yet. If I'm going to go back to a Kickstarter, it seems like it would be smart to do something that's more based around these really big monsters, so maybe I can fund a couple of them. It's so expensive.
Yeah, because 3D printing wasn't really a thing back then. So how did you prototype the mini?
The original one was 3D printing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the white speaker, the very first model we released, was also 3D printed. I didn't know what the best technology and process was then.
Right,
and it's very Wild West.
Yeah.
But the people that I worked with did a great job.
Nice. So did you actually just, because you hadn't settled on a 3D printer or anything, you didn't do any of that in-house? Did you actually contract somebody?
It's way too expensive to do it in-house.
Yeah, especially
I
at the time.
This company was actually out here in Indiana.
Oh, really? So they did all the prototyping and stuff for you?
They printed the white speaker, and they printed the original Forsaker, and then the models were far too fine for metal casting. So I was like, well, I don't personally like working with metal anyway, so
I'm kind of the same way. Yeah.
It's nicer, right?
So then that's how you got your connection to your production facility in France?
No. This is in the States.
Oh, wow.
Much later.
Okay.
Yeah. That was this company called Valiant.
Okay.
Back here in the States, and they, I think they did their best, but their ability to cast resin wasn't that far advanced, and the pieces we had were very demanding. It was all very new, especially because we didn't, at that early point, know how to design these things for production. It was just let's make it look cool as best as we can.
Yeah.
And the whole plan with the first Kickstarter was, at that point, I had this company lined up that does PVC miniatures. It's the same company that does what's it called, X-Wing. And I was lined up to work with them. This gentleman, Benjamin Mallier, really cool guy. And after the end of the first Kickstarter is just when the contract with Star Wars came in.
Oh.
So we got so busy.
Oh,
he was
yeah.
Adam, I'm really sorry, but I don't think I can get back to you on this. And that was after me trying to get a hold of him for a while. Hey man, we're ready. Let's do this. So I was kind of left in this like spot where I was like, okay, well, I could keep pursuing this with Ben. He's really busy with this new big project, or maybe I should start looking elsewhere. And that's when the guy who does our plastic manufacturing actually reached out to me.
Oh, that's nice.
Like, your stuff is beautiful. Like, I do hard plastic. Like, you should come out to China and let's talk. I was like, yeah, this is way more I want. And then, like, once we saw how much more expensive it was going to be, I was like, oh, gee.
So that's kind of where the Kickstarter idea came in?
No, this is after the Kickstarter.
That.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I jumped into the Kickstarter, like, already having a basic idea of how much the original intent of the game was going to be, which is a PvC game that was going to have a couple big monsters. Because I wasn't ready for the hero game.
Right, because it's way different now in the 1.5 with how the scale of everything.
I mean, just the whole plan changed once things started to roll forward.
Gotcha.
Like, we realized that we had something really special with like an entire story told through monster content. You know, so when we went back in for the reprint campaign, which was supposed to be a reprint campaign plus a little bit extra, and then like after that first day we raised $4 million, I was just like, all right, that's it. I am opening the floodgates.
Yep.
Everything that I've been working on in secret is now rolling out.
Yep, I remember I was there at midnight. Just waiting for it to refresh. Yeah, a lot of us were, and it was within the first 5 minutes. It funded. Yep.
It's insane. And a big thank you to everybody for allowing that to be a pretty stress-free experience.
Yeah,
like, everyone was so cool about everything. It allowed me to like really have fun and be experimental with the presentation and everything, and like make those videos every day. Like this last time, I was basically just answering questions because people felt I had to justify to them what I was doing. And that's fine, but since everyone was like generally just pretty down with it, it allowed me to have the time to do all that stuff. So again, thank you.
Yeah. Everybody's really chill. We love the daily updates when you could get to them.
Yes.
Yeah, I know you pretty much didn't sleep that whole time.
First Kickstarter, no, there's no sleep.
Yeah.
The second one, I was good about it.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that I had a good night's rest so that I could be like as like coherent and ready to go as possible. But the first like week of it, there was no sleep.
Yep.
It was just like, what is happening right now? Like, all plans destroyed. Must start to refactor things.
Gotcha.
And then there was a few of those days where I had to like look at the budget and be like, okay, well, I've tried to hook up all the real, all the fans as good as possible. Now we have new people coming in. How do I start to scale things out and increase the money so that the whole thing can stay balanced?
Right, because now there's not just the core game, but there's tons of expansions.
Yeah, it's like 16 more expansions.
Well, but it's still very grounded in the core game, and then you're easily able to add on things. A lot of it kind of comes towards the end, though, like with the Silver City and stuff, or you can just add that on whenever.
The Silver City is going to be a campaign that interacts with you much earlier in the campaign cycle, so that you have more to do. And the Lion God will kind of be fitted in towards the end.
Nice.
It's like one of the things that we noticed, especially at the end of our development, after we saw everyone playing things, is that all the very like end game content doesn't really get played very often.
Right.
It's cool.
That's what you were talking about earlier with streamlining the 1.5 a little better, because it was farm, showdown, die, and that's not the way you wanted it played.
No, it's supposed to be like, get a little bit more variety than just like being worried. It's always risk reward, right?
Right.
The rewards for level 2s and 3s were just, I think a lot of fans didn't feel were inherently high enough in order to risk their
they played it safe.
Right, I think the majority played it safe. You got a couple of hardcore fans, and those groups who like understand that, jumping ahead early, if you can like gain that ground, is very smart. Well, not only get you way more resources and way more progress, but I don't think that was like the norm. The norm is to like play it safe.
Right.
So we wanted to incentivize level 2s and 3s a little bit more, make it so that it was kind of a more obvious, better choice as opposed to being subtle.
Gotcha. Now there were some monsters like the Forge God and not the Gold Smoke Knight. We got that one, fortunately.
Yep.
The the Storm Knight. Are we going to see those in another game? Maybe.
Yeah. At this point, like the ideas for everything just continues to spiral. Right. It's like, we're gonna do this, and it's so cool. But I have to remember that there's reality, which is like a stack of promises this tall.
Right.
That's made to a whole lot of people that need to get like worked on and polished and
Yeah,
shipped.
because now that you've got this X amount of things, you want to
Yeah.
get those to us before you start working on other stuff. Yeah. Well, and that's the same way with the fulfillment for this Kickstarter, is you want to make sure to get everybody their copies before. That's why you're waiting on stuff come over from China. And the production, yeah, you told us in the last update, the production just had to take that much more time because there was so many more people than
It
expected.
was also like everything was sort of like the timetables were sort of slipping a little bit because of just how much stuff there was.
Yep.
And when you have a QC issue like we did, it's just like, okay, yeah, you know, if it was like 100 games, no big deal, get a couple workers, knock it out in a few days. But when it's, when they think our order is like, we have like 15,000 units made for the Kickstarter, and then we got an initial 10,000 units, so 25,000 games being made.
Yep.
And it's like, well, yeah, now every one of these needs to be checked and cleaned, and then the showdown board, each one needs to come out and be shrink wrapped. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be like through. It's like,
Yeah, but you'd rather give us an awesome game and in the quality you want it than to
It has
rush
to
it.
be
And, yeah.
as right as I can possibly manage. If I didn't push myself to that point of just like utter, I can't take it anymore, then it's not, I don't know, it's not on brand.
That's been the way you've been doing it this whole time.
Yeah.
Is you know the vision in your head, and then that carries forward from not just the end result, what the game would get, but you've got that with the artists and the game design, sculptors, all that stuff. So, I mean, how did, going back a bit, how did that all start with the artists and the sculptors? That kind of grow organically?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, it's definitely a very big struggle in the beginning when you don't have anything, you don't really have any art, to get people with all these talents interested in the project, right? Because they're professionals.
Yeah.
They work for money, and like anyone, you know, some satisfaction. If it's a cool, interesting project, you know, maybe they'll take a little bit less money for it. Back in the area that you could afford as someone starting out.
Right.
So like managing to get Yasmin on board was a huge boon because she was willing to be affordable for me, and it gave us some amazing pieces of artwork that I could then start to like try to tempt sculptors with.
Right, gotcha.
Okay, you know, I know you're busy, but you know, maybe in a few months if you have time, we can fit this in. And you know, after the first Kickstarter, everything really took a life of its own. The fans were like, "This is awesome." The artists were like, "This is awesome." The sculptors were like, "Yeah, give me more." And it really like.
And then everybody got on board, kind of in the same, like feeling that, because that's one thing that you've been able to keep consistent around the whole project, no matter the amount of people involved, is this overall sense of not just scale, but the world that you're building.
Anything that someone will potentially look at goes through me.
That's awesome.
And that's like words on cards, the way something looks, the way something goes up online, it all has to go through me because to me it's all part of the same experience. And it needs to be as consistent as possible. And like I know I'm called to they say things to me like you're a perfectionist, you're a control freak, blah blah blah. I don't feel like I am. It's just like it needs to be pushed to that point where I can't stand to look at it anymore. Like, you know what? You know, Dunkin' Night, I love it, but I can't. No more.
No more?
No more. I'm pushing this way.
Yeah. That's a problem a lot of artists have, is they're very overly critical of their work, to where it's never right. But yeah, you're right. You got to reach that point where it's done. Yeah.
But I never feel like, oh, this is perfect. Yes, high five to myself. All right. It's more just like, no. I need to work on something else, please.
Yeah, there's
please.
always more to be done.
Yeah.
So we've seen especially at this con, we've seen the busts.
Yeah.
Plans on doing those?
The busts are super cool. I wish I could get them cast in resin without it majorly impacting just our regular production.
Gotcha, because you'd want to go because of the quality you get, you'd want to go to the same place.
Yeah.
And
so I don't know if I can figure out a way to like start to produce them without impacting our regular resin stuff. Like I'll pursue it. I'll make a couple, see how it goes.
Nice.
I think they're cool. I don't know what the market on it's like. Although the fear of doing something new is always if we do too little, it then becomes a collector's thing.
Right, and that's the way the first Kickstarter happened.
And if there's too much, then we have inventory and an investment in something that just sits there. So
yeah, that's the hard part.
How do you figure out what the demand is, and then how do you meet that perfectly?
Right. Would a Kickstarter for that be a good idea, or would you not go that route just because?
I think it's best to just like, there's companies who juggle Kickstarters, and I think that's cool, but I prefer just like one at a time.
Gotcha.
Don't start the next one until the first one's done.
Done.
Completely done.
Yep, that makes sense.
I feel like that's, as a potential fan, it makes me feel encouraged. Like, this company will finish and take care of every detail, every promise before they're like ready to do more.
And that's awesome, especially from so many Kickstarters they either fail or they invest the money poorly, and this way
easy.
Yeah. So it's good that you're coming from that standpoint. Now I know a lot of painters. Liz Beckley Bradford is a friend.
Yeah.
How did you? Did she approach you? Did you approach her about painting?
Came to us not last Gencon, but the one before. I am a huge fan. I painted this for you guys. She had come in and she bought our promo mini for the con.
And she did it that same night, didn't she?
Painted it the same night, ran it back over, and was like, "Here, this is for you guys. Thanks so much for being a fan." Like, this is awesome. So we put it up on our little like thing we had to show it off, and then we just kept in touch and like watching her skills evolve, and her choice of colors is just amazing.
Yeah, I saw the display over there. It's awesome. So did you approach her saying, "Hey, I want the story-driven ones"?
Get a bunch of narrative sculpts. You want to paint them? She's like, "Hell yeah!"
That's awesome. I know you do that for all the box art and stuff. It's all just the bare plastic or resin.
Yep.
You thinking to do that same thing you did with Liz with other artists?
I like getting stuff painted for shows, and I like making painting guides, which is really tricky right now because we don't have our own paint line.
Right.
And it's hard to make an official guide because we're
using somebody else's products.
Property. The other products I don't care about. It's like if we were like, here's a guide, we want to stand behind it. It uses Vallejo, it's Secret Weapon, it Games Workshop. Like, all of those are trademarks we don't own.
Right.
So like, we can't really do it.
Was the same thing with all the crossovers? Is it
crossovers is like, I work out a deal with someone, we have paperwork, it's done correctly. Look for a paint guide, it's so much harder. I need to go get permission from all these different companies that a particular artist might use.
Gotcha.
It's kind of a bit of a bummer. I haven't quite figured out what the correct way to do
Well,
that
they all
is.
use so many varied products. They'll use like a whole line of something and then one paint from another brand, and it's so I see where you're coming from. I know I'm friends with a lot of different artists, kind of all over. They love the stuff, and they, most of them are like.
We're going to somehow foster like an unofficial Kingdom Death painting site where people were posting guides and stuff. It just wasn't part of this.
Right.
Cool. But, we'll see. But I don't have any intentions of
doing anything official.
Right. Putting painted models on boxes and stuff. I didn't do it originally because I couldn't afford to have anything painted.
Right, and you really didn't need it. I mean, we see the
not.
details, and it almost adds to the boutique aspect.
It's also like nice. It's like what you see is what you get here.
Right.
As opposed to like if you opened up a model and you're like, well, a lot of this stuff was painted on. I understand why it was painted on because it's so fine, but it's like, I don't know. And I think most people will play with unpainted models anyway.
Right, and that's part of the intimidation too of this game from a painting standpoint is it's 90% skin, and it's hard to paint. So I know that's why I do all my stuff on Twitch, because it's so intimidating. And I've had so many people watch my stuff, and then because I painted and taken the risk of trying to learn how to paint, that they do that, which is great. I gotta ask, because I have 50 million people asking me, I know you don't want to give me spoilers, and I don't want spoilers. You gotta talk about the 10K item on the store.
Sure. So the 10K item on the store, just so everyone knows, was a placeholder, because we didn't have time before the sale to like change the actual like front end of the website to say what was up. So we just put an item up, 10K, explaining what the deal was. The intent was never to sell it, you crazy person.
I know. Well, you didn't take it down in time.
No.
I got all my stuff, and it was like, I figured you guys are honest and awesome enough that worst case, you just give me the money back.
Yes, of course.
So, but it happened. I emailed you guys, and you're like, yeah, your response was, you crazy bastard.
Yeah.
And so you told me you're working on it.
Yep.
But literally to make it, you cannot support the weight of the printer on your actual floor.
That's correct.
So you just got to figure out
The machine
somewhere.
that we're looking to get to do sort of like stuff of the size
Yep.
is too heavy for our current office. So if you want the money back anytime, it's yours. But if you're cool waiting and seeing what we come up with, that's cool too.
No, I got faith in you guys, and this is kind of the two things I do professionally are Warhammer and this. And this is just, it's got so much more soul to it.
I mean, Warhammer's awesome. I've loved that stuff since I was a kid.
Yeah, I mean, they've got their own worlds, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan too, but this is its own thing that we've really never seen before.
Yeah.
And that's really the appeal. And I know we were talking about some of this 3D printed stuff you've got, like the Black Knight bust, and all of the table corners you got. That stuff just adds to it. And I know, not I do it, but I know a lot of people all over the world do it, have their own dedicated spaces now just to play your game.
Yeah. Evo was suggesting that maybe we put the table corners on Thingiverse.
Just to print?
Them out.
That is amazing.
I think I can maybe get behind that because we don't have a way of making those efficiently.
Right.
You know, like if we knew 10 people wanted them, yeah, no problem, easy. We'll just print them up, send them down, good to go. But the issue is like when you get more towards 100, you know, because it takes on the printer we have in the office a day to make 2 of those.
Yeah,
so
that's
100 would be 50 office days of the machine running and needing to be maintained. It becomes like, I don't think that's the wisest. You know?
Right, yeah, and especially it's
and
just
then you go into bigger manufacturing solutions, and suddenly the runs need to be in the thousands for it to make any sense financially. And you're like, well, damn, how do we do this cool thing for the like maybe 100 people who want it in a way that doesn't take up all of our time or just is a huge resource?
That's
I'm
awesome.
working on it. I'm working on it.
Yeah, if you can,
Out,
and I'm not going to hold you to that, of course. But if you're able to do that, I know, especially if it's not, as long as it's not a miniature specifically, as long as it's just an accent or something like that. Now, I know you did the plastic showdown board.
Yeah.
Now, it's bigger than usual. Have you already started working on that for production? Or?
There's a couple like very early prototypes on the shelf over there you probably saw.
Yeah, just like Under the Nightmare Ramp?
Yeah. It's going to be the size of the showdown board.
Nice.
And then like, I don't know, I'm thinking of maybe, if it's possible, sneaking some storage into it and see.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Yeah, because you have to redo it, because I noticed when shipping all the core games, just the sheer weight of that game warps and cracks the actual holder. So that's why on the Kickstarter we're going to redo that.
No, the vacuum
Yeah,
tray?
the vacuum
we
tray.
did.
Yeah.
If I had it now, I wonder if I could grab one. I could show you that the material is way better. Here, let's see.
Yeah, go ahead. You are so accommodating. You have no idea. Yeah.
Open it up. This has got a lot of random shit in it, so it's extra heavy.
There we go. So that's a new one, huh?
Yep.
And you didn't have that production issue you were talking about with the white?
Nope. That was the whole point of it.
Alright.
So look at this.
So yeah, that is so
fucking
sturdy.
Solid.
Yeah, the other one it would break on the corners, and this one is just.
It's a completely different plastic. I mean, like, you know, you'd expect that your factory's experts in this stuff and would tell you the best thing to use.
I think they were just overwhelmed by the sheer size and weight.
A little bit.
Yeah,
and the other challenge is that since it's so big, because it stretches, it's a vacuum seal, other material is getting brittle. So not only do we, and for extra security, there's also cardboard in the corners.
Oh, that's
underneath
awesome.
it. But yeah, this has been, of the ones that have sent us so far, they've all been fine.
Yeah, you're literally flicking it and it's fine.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Great.
I didn't really have any other questions. It's just kind of what came to mind. I like that it's really conversational.
Yeah.
You know, I could have gone to our Facebook group and done like cue cards and nonsense, but this is just whatever comes to mind. So, again, thank you so much. You are so awesome. It's great to be here. Yeah,
Have a great show.
Make sure,
thank you guys.
Make sure you get food.
Yes, I ate. I grabbed some food in my mouth.
Yeah, because you guys forget to do that. I know your staff is really bad about it too.
But we have one person on staff who's just like, you, take your break now.
That's good.
Go relax. Have a recall. Stop.
Yep.
That helps.
Yeah,
it's easy to get wrapped up in it.
Yeah, it's just there's so much excitement and you guys are so busy that.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad that happened.
Thanks a lot, Justin.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Yeah, you too.